Hello folks, thanks for tuning in to another video. This week's video is all about the democratic deficit. Now, I think this is one of the main, well, for me it's certainly a big motivator for voting for independence for Scotland. Democratic deficit, in its simplest terms as defined by the Collins Dictionary, is any situation in which there is believed to be a lack of democratic accountability and control over the decision-making process. Now, no more is this apparent than in Scotland and England. In fact, almost exclusively since between 1979 and 1997 did we have a situation where Scotland as a majority didn't vote for the Conservative government, yet they still ruled us, they still, robbed this country. And to my parents' generation and your parents' generation, and to some of you, your grandparents, Margaret Thatcher kind of pillaged Scotland and ruined it, and the democratic deficit allowed that to happen because people voted, but it didn't make the blindest bit of difference. Now, I'm sure that quite a lot of people could dispute this next fact, but I genuinely believe that you could take Scotland's share of the vote and not have it and take it away from the UK political landscape, and it wouldn't make the blindest bit of difference, as was, observed by the Conservatives' dominance, ergo Margaret Thatcher. Now, facts and figures to kind of go along with this. The most recent Parliament, the most recent Conservative coalition, they only got 1 out of 59 MPs for Scotland. Yet look at that, we only elected 1 Scottish MP, yet they are in control. We elected more of everybody else, and it kind of shows that we don't make a difference. And this is why this is why devolution came about, but we need to go that one step further, because we need to take we need to take complete control of all of our affairs, because at the moment, the democratic deficit dragged us, down in terms of this financial crisis. It drags us. It's got the potential and the ability to drag us into foreign conflicts and foreign policy that just doesn't mesh with Scotland's attitudes. We're quite we're all about social justice in this country, and the Conservatives aren't. And every time a Conservative government is elected in Westminster, it's a kind of reminder that we don't really have any say. And even in Scotland, we don't elect them. I mean, in the Scottish Parliament, they got wiped out in devolution. They got wiped out in the infamous 1997 landslide. A lot of facts and figures available online, too numerous to quote. Figures don't lie. The figures don't lie. Between 1979 and 1997, the difference was so apparent. Taking a random vote in Scotland, or the democratic elections going back to 1970, the Conservatives got 19, Labour got 48, the Liberals got 3, Scottish National Party got 1, yet the UK national result was the Conservatives. Yet we didn't, we voted for a small majority of them. Democratic deficit matters, our vote matters, and if we want our vote to matter, then we need to be ploughing our efforts and our voting power into a parliament that's going to make a difference for us, into our own backyard, as opposed to giving votes away. Every time we go and tick a box in a ballot box for a Westminster election, we might as well be, pissing in the wind, that Scotland was heard on a national and international level, and that's not going to happen as long as the democratic deficit lingers. And remember my video last week talking about the history of the Union. a thing that I didn't mention at the time, a fact that I forgot, was that England wanted to absorb us. It suited, the relationship between them and us suited England because they wanted to absorb us to stop us being a strong trading partner. You think about Scotland's international reputation, you think about all the famous Scots, the famous inventors, the famous philosophers, the famous thinkers, and the powerful, influential people. Scotland's a wee country, but it punches above its weight, and I think at some level, in English politics, they're intimidated by that because they are seen as quite drab on the continent. Look at their combative relationship with Europe. Scotland wants to try and foster a cooperative relationship with its neighbours, not a demanding relationship, as can be seen with the Conservatives in Europe. We may not always agree with the foreign policy of our neighbours, but there's got to be a better approach than just collectively throwing our toys out the pram. Thank you again. Thank you for watching, and forgive my lack of polish, but I want to make this as kind of relatable as possible without all the bells and whistles and the fancy political speak. So comments are welcome. Share me even if you don't watch me. Thank you.